lines for participant pre-registration and all submission of materials and exhibits were due at 12 noon on Tuesday before this planning board meeting. Staff is available today for on-site registration or if you need assistance. This is the last planning board meeting because we will go into recess in August. This is my third planning board meeting as chairman. I am excited.
Still excited.
I am still excited. Now let me move on to today's agenda. The order of cases for today's meeting will be as follows. Item 1, 2, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. The first item on the agenda is item 1, resolution of support of National Interns Day. We look for a motion to approve this resolution.
Move approval, Mr. Chair.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. I will now call the roll. Vice Chair Bailey.
But aye.
Commissioner Washington.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye.
And I vote aye as well. We have from my office, Callista Black, to speak on the resolution.
Hi, thank you, Chairman Barnes, and thank you, Planning Board members, for approving the resolution. As you mentioned, today is National Intern Day, a celebration across the country. It's typically held on the last day in July, but this year, 2025, recognizes 30 years that MSC PPC has had the collegiate internship program within the Prince George's County Planning Board and Planning Department. A few points on why we're acknowledging this day. It's since its inception in 1995. Since its inception, since 1995, the Planning Department and Planning Board has welcomed more than 285 students. They represented more than 110 universities and colleges, some representing prestigious HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities, and some bringing global perspectives and experiences from global programs. The program has created career opportunities. Approximately 10% of the interns over the years have been hired in full-time positions with MNC PPC. And so this year, with the promise in 2024, our planning director has dedicated resources to expand the program. And in 2025, Planning Director James Hunt has really taken leadership over it. And I will pause and allow him just to chime in also on the direction of the program and the success of it.
There we go. Okay. Apologies, trying to make this the mic work here. For the record, again, James Hunt, the Deputy Planning Director here with the Prince George's Planning Department. Callista's actually absolutely right on this one. Over the years, we typically have about 10 interns that come between as far as working for the Planning Department as well as the Planning Board's office. This year, working with the Planning Director, she is, really taking the lead on making sure that we expand this program because we realize the importance and the critical of us giving back to the community on this. So we've expanded to this year. We did 20. We originally were planning to do about 30, if I remember correctly. But we were able to actually do 20 folks within this program. And it's not just colleges and universities here within the Washington, D.C. area. We're talking about all over the United States. So this is an excellent program. The team, working with them, one of the main things I really wanted to focus on to ensure that each one of these college interns was integrated into all the various work programs of the planning department as well as the chairman's office here. We've had a lot of the interns attend a lot of our meetings. The insight and the interest in there has been great. They have also been asking a lot of great questions. We've also provided a lot of items within that as far as assignments to them. They've done a phenomenal job with that. And, even just reaching out alone just has been amazing working with each and every one of these great kids, or these students, I should say, kids, I'm my age, but I greatly appreciate the opportunity that this is actually posed not only for the planning department, but I will say for myself, because it's, really being able to sit back and, I'm learning from them as well. There are things, coming from my generation, I didn't understand a lot of the technology improvements. They have really provided a lot of insight and opportunities as well as far as insight to expand our use of technology here within the planning department and different operations as well. So greatly kind of seeing what their experiences are. Their contributions here within the planning department have been awesome. So I want to take an opportunity to really recognize each and every one of these great candidates as a part of this program. I will say also one of the things recently that's taken place over the last week, we've been working very hard with the Qualified Data Center Task Force. We've had community meetings. We had a lot of these interns actually came out and supported us as a part of these community meetings. We wanted them to actually, provide support, but also see planning in action at that point in time. They did a fantastic job out there. And a lot of the folks who are within the community recognized that, and they saw all the great work that they did, and also gave them a round of applause multiple times, given the fact that we were able to give back to the community in this manner. So I just wanted to take an opportunity to recognize each and every one of them and the great work that they did here with the commission.
Thank you.
So next, we would like to give an opportunity for each intern that is seated in the audience to come up and introduce themselves, name their school, which division they were working with, and who their supervisor is. And so Chairman's office, we take lead. And so I'd like to turn it over to our intern.
Hi, everyone. My name is Yamari Bethea. I go to New York University. I am a community development intern in the chairman's office under Marcus Monroe. Thank you.
Your pink is beautiful. There was a reason for that, of course.
Morning. My name is Nala Washington. I am a graduate student at Texas State University. I am a public affairs intern 2 for the second summer in a row. I work under Callista Black in the chairman's office.
Great.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Amari Childs. I am going into my junior year at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University, Aggie Pride. I am in the Management Services Department as an intern 1 under Alicia Alexander.
Great.
Hi there, I'm Aishata Sinmo. I'm doing my PhD at UMD and I'm doing an internship here at DRD Division, and my supervisor is Helen Smith. Thank you.
Great. Terrific.
Hello, my name is Lauren Witter. I'm an architecture master's student at Howard University.
Hey, Jude.
You know. And I am a returning intern with the Development Review Division, Urban Design Section under Hyojung Garland.
Great.
Good morning. I'm Saiful Alam. I am a graduate student at the University of Maryland at Collegeburg. I'm working as an intern 2 under the Countywide Planning Division under the supervision of Crystal Hank. Thank you.
Super.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Aaliyah Peterson.
Yes, Spellman?
Yeah. I'm a rising senior at college. And I'm a transportation planning intern in the countywide planning division under Crystal Hancock.
Super.
Good morning. I'm Haley Barowie. I'm a dual master's student in anthropology and historic preservation at the University of Maryland. I'm an intern in the countywide planning division and historic preservation under Tom Gross.
Outstanding.
Morning, my name is Noah Solomon. I'm working in the information management division and I'm an undergrad at Towson University working under Cherie Strong.
Morning, everyone. My name is Xuedi Yan. I'm a PhD student at University of Maryland. I interned in the information management division research section, and my supervisor is Kui Zhao. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sophia Awati from Bowie State University. I'm in a master's program in information system and assurance. I'm interning at the planning director's office with the budget division, and my supervisor is Ms. Laurie. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. My name is Tara Boubacar. I'm from Bowie State University. I'm a graduate student, and my department is IMD, which is Information Management Division, and I'm under Charlie Strong.
Good morning, people of the chair and everyone here. My name is Joseph Wong, and I'm a graduate student at UMD. and I'm under the subdivision development review. Thank you.
Morning, I'm Caroline Sewell, and I attend University of Maryland. I'm a graduate student, and I'm in the neighborhood revitalization section in community planning. And my supervisor is Daniel Sams.
Hi, my name is Novi Goodman. I'm currently a master's student at Virginia Tech. I work in community planning, specifically in neighborhood revitalization, and my supervisor is Daniel Sams.
Great.
Good morning. My name is Katie Lee. I'm a master's student at Virginia Tech based in Arlington, Virginia. I study urban planning. I'm in the community planning placemaking division under Adam Dodgson. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Jay Najay. I recently graduated from University of Maryland, and I work in the planning director's office under special programs coordinator, Ms. Vanessa Atkins.
Good morning. I'm John Lawrence. I'm a Master's of Community Planning student at the University of Maryland, and I work in the Community Planning Division under Sarah Benton.
Welcome.
Good morning. I'm Humayun Atili, and I'm an intern in Master Plans and Studies section, and I work under the supervision of Mr. Kier McCoon, and I'm a graduate student at the University of Maryland in Master of Community Planning.
Hey, super. Let's give them all a round of applause.
Board, we asked one question, if we could take a group photo with the interns. The first one, the interns and the planning board, and then we would like to invite the planning director, the deputy directors, and the supervisors to join us.
Yeah, let me say a few words first. Because I look at days like this as a special occasion. One that I really wish Channel 4, 5, 7, and 9 were here. Because I think it's an opportunity for them to understand the progress that we're making within our community. And the things that we're doing that should be highlighted on the news every single day. That we have some really bright men and women here that are doing some amazing things. You guys' future is extremely bright. You all should feel extremely proud about your accomplishments and where you are and what the future looks like for you. This commission vows to be as supportive as we possibly can to ensure that your next steps are fruitful. Continue to dream and dream big. Expand your scope. Look for the future. You too can be sitting in my seat or sitting in Director Hall's seat or sitting in Assistant Director, Deputy Director James Hunt's seat. All you have to do is continue to apply yourself, work hard. It's 3 words I often use: hard work, dedication, and commitment. And if you apply those 3 words, then you too can become anything you want to do. All you have to do is continue to work hard at it. Be the best that you can possibly be. Be the example for your family and your community. I am very proud of you all. This commission is very proud of you all. I want you to go back to school or wherever you're going from here and feel good about your accomplishments. Because I want you guys to say that I want to come back and work for the commission at some point. And I will ensure that we open up those doors for you where you have employment here, because your contribution to what we're doing is invaluable. Believe that and recognize that. You guys brought a lot to the table. You helped us out a lot. And we need your experience. And I hopefully that you guys gain something from this experience that you can take back to your schools, you can take back to your communities, and you can tell your families, this is what I learned at Park and Planning in Prince George's County. And this is how I want to apply it. That's what makes the day special. That's why I want every land use attorney to recognize these young people and how important community is. So when I ask, have you reached out to the community to get their buy-in and support? I want you to think about these young people here and their contribution to what we're trying to get accomplished within our planning department. because they are the ones that's going to make a difference for today, tomorrow, and the future. Once again, not to be redundant, but congratulations. We are very proud of you and know that you have a friend and a family here at Largo HQ. You want to speak to Sydney?
Might say it.
Are we going to be overshadowed?
We can stand.
Yeah. Let's just walk down. Take your seat. Look at that.
It looks like we're not fighting.
It's actually in the, you heard the chairman.
Yes, and then we'll invite supervisors. Good? Thank you. And later. Thank you, Chairman and Planning Board members.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is item 2, draft minutes from July 24th, 2025. I look for minutes to approve the minutes on July 24th.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. I will now call the roll. Vice Chair Bailey.
Aye.
Commissioner Washington.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye.
And I vote aye as well. It's had it. We will now move forward to the consent agenda. Is there a recognition or, sorry, the consent agenda items, item 4A, 4B, 4D, 4F, 4G, 4H, item 41, and 4J. Is there anyone who wishes to oppose the staff recommendation on the consent agenda?
Mr. Chair, after consideration of the record after consideration of the records for items numbers 4A, 4B, 4D, and 4F through 4J, I move adoption of the staff findings and approval of these items on the consent agenda in accordance with the recommendation of staff.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. I will now call the roll. Vice Chair Bailey.
Vote aye.
Commissioner Washington,
I vote aye.
Commissioner Bailey. I'm sorry, Commissioner Geraldo.
I vote aye, Mr. Chair.
And I vote aye as well. The ayes have it. We will now move on to the regular agenda items. The first item on the agenda is item 5. Preliminary plans of subdivision 4-25002 Toutman property. We will have staff present Benjamin Sullivan.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the board. For the record, I am Benjamin Sullivan with the subdivision section. Item number 5 on the agenda is the preliminary plan division for Troutman property, case number 4-25002. The subject property proposes 67 lots, 5 parcels, and 4 outlots for single-family detached residential development. The letter is, the letter of continuance is dated July 16th, 2025. The applicant requested a continuance of this case to September 11th, 2025 to allow the applicant and staff additional time to further coordinate the requirements related to woodland conservation. If the continuance is granted, additional posting will not be required. The notices of public hearing signs for this application were posted on the subject site on July 1st, 2025. This concludes staff presentation.
Are there any questions from the planning board for Mr. Sullivan?
No question.
Seeing none, we will now hear from Mr. Horn.
Mr. Chairman, members of the planning board, for the record, my name is Arthur Horn with the Law Office of Shipley and Horn in Largo, Maryland. We're pleased to be here today to represent the applicant in this case. As Mr. Sullivan said, this morning is just a request for continuance. It's not 67 lots, but 60 lots. This is a equestrian development. And so this is a little bit different than the norm that we see. It's a homage to the great history of Prince George's County with this equestrian use as well. And we're working with staff still and with the community to develop this project. And we appreciate the opportunity to continue that discussion. And we ask for a continuance to September 11th.
Are there any questions for Mr. Horn?
No questions.
Seeing none, I believe that there were a couple of people that were signed up to speak, but I believe they were all in favor. With that, is there any other further deliberation, or what's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the request to continue preliminary plan 4-25002 to planning board hearing date September 11, 2025.
Second. It's been properly moved and second. I will now call the roll. Vice Chair Bailey.
Aye.
Commissioner Washington.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Geraldo.
I vote aye, Mr. Chair.
And I vote aye as well. We will now move on to the item 6, preliminary plan for subdivision 4-24019 Holy Place. We will now hear from staff, Mr. Sullivan.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the board. For the record, I am Benjamin Sullivan with the subdivision section. Item number 6 on the agenda is the preliminary plan of subdivision for Holly Place, case number 4-24019, which proposes 3 parcels for development of 72 multifamily residential dwelling units and 24,464 square feet of existing commercial use. The application is further subject to an approved certificate of adequacy under the case number ADQ-2024-031. Before I begin, as a matter of housekeeping, 3 items were submitted by the applicant prior to the noon deadline on July 29th, 2025, which are entered into the record as applicant exhibits 1, 2, and 3. Exhibit 1 is a proposed revision to the recommended condition 8 in the staff report. Staff understands that the applicant is no longer requesting this revision. Applicant exhibits 2 and 3 are letters of support from local community organizers. In conclusion, subdivision staff recommend that the planning board adopt the findings and approve preliminary plan of subdivision 4-24019, Holy Place, Type 1 Tree Conservation Plan, TCP1-004-2025, variance to section 25-121, subsection C3, and variance to section 25-122, subsection B1G, subject to the conditions contained in the technical staff report. This concludes staff presentation.
What was the amended items that was submitted?
Oh, the amended items? The amended items were a request for, apologize, I'm trying to remember the exact wordage. They were requesting to have to put in a sidewalk just along parcels 1 and 2, and there was condition 8D, which would have required a midway. What's what I'm looking for? Crosswalk on Holly Place Road, or Holly Tree Road, I should say.
Okay.
And that's been withdrawn.
Yes.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for Mr. Sullivan? If not, we will hear from the applicant's attorney, Mr. Goldsmith.
Mr. Goldsmith and anyone else seeking to speak, we need to swear you in since this is an evidentiary hearing. Those of you seeking to testify in this matter, please stand up, raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Peter Goldsmith, I'm an attorney with Lurch, Early and Brewer in the Bowie office. I have much less impressive credentials than all your new interns. But I am here on behalf of the applicant, who is an affiliate of Lincoln Avenue Communities. Here with me from Lincoln Avenue is Stacy Kaplowitz, who is their vice president and managing regional project partner. Here virtually is our civil engineer, Victoria Ballestero, and our traffic consultant, Ms. Ballestero is with ATCS, and our traffic consultant is Maribel Donahue with Grove Slade. I want to thank Mr. Sullivan for his presentation and his responsiveness. This is my first time working with him. Look forward to working with him again. As he mentioned, we are now in complete agreement. We had some question about the feasibility of installation of a segment of a sidewalk. The physical constraints gave us a little bit of pause, but our team worked through it. And so we are no longer pursuing our revised conditions. We are in complete agreement with staff. The staff report is really well done. So the application that is before the board is a preliminary plan of subdivision. And what we're talking about here is merely creating new lots where those lot lines are and some frontage improvements. The certificate of adequacy has already been approved. The use, which the code characterizes, and I think we're more enlightened than this, but the code characterizes as apartment housing for the elderly. The architecture, the site, the parking and landscaping will all be approved at the next application stage during special exception. And I know that the board has many items on the agenda today, but I think that this project is a special one for many reasons. And I will be brief, but I would like to share some of those reasons with the board, because we're not going to have another opportunity to present this project to the board in this way, because ultimately it will be decided by the zoning hearing examiner. The planning department just recently published a data journal on senior housing and the senior housing population and how it's growing. The population of folks who are 65 and up is growing in the county. The Central Branch Avenue Corridor Sector Plan, which was published, over 12 years ago even identified that critical issue. It identifies this area in Temple Hills as saturated by old commercial strip centers and industrial development, but it recommends new housing that, quote, comprises a range of choices, including a variety of multifamily types that will allow older residents to downsize and age in place. And it describes the need for catalytic projects that will initiate that recommendation. And I think Holly Place is that type of project. We are subdividing a portion of an underutilized surface parking lot and transforming it into a compact housing development that I think is a perfect example of infill development that will serve a critical need in the county and won't put a strain on infrastructure. I think it's a really nice transition from some of the commercial uses on St. Barnabas Road as it transitions to a lower density residential community to the east and to the north. And Lincoln Avenue Communities is an owner and operator. They were recently named the top affordable developer in the country. They have over 170 properties, manage over 3,000 apartments in 28 states, serve over 80,000 residents. And this is not their only project in Prince George's County. They have one plan for Riverdale. We have another one in pre-acceptance that I'm really excited to bring to the board and maybe later this year or early next year in New Carrollton. And because they're owners and operators, they are invested in the community in Temple Hills, in Prince George's County. They care about the quality of their buildings, and they plan to invest in energy efficiency and sustainable futures. We look forward to bringing this project to the zoning hearing examiner. The renderings, the architectural renderings that I've seen for this are beautiful. Some of the amenities that they're planning are a library, a theater, outdoor patio, community room, pet relief stations. It's a little bit smaller property, so we're not gonna be able to do a full-blown dog park, but there certainly will be amenities for our pet friends. Some of the services they're going to provide are resident affinity groups, health screenings, wellness and fitness classes, financial planning, community cultural events, community resource days. We have been engaged with this community and in the community for over a year. We've met multiple times and continue to speak with the Deliverance Free Will Baptist Church, which is that building directly to the east. All inquiries so far that I've received are mostly from the business community. I've received a couple calls of people interested in living in this community. We are holding a much larger community meeting in a couple weeks at the Hillcrest Heights Library. And we also plan to meet with and continue communicating with the Gordon's Corner HOA, which is that community right nearby. And as is Lincoln Avenue Communities standard practice and my standard practice, we make ourselves available at all times. If anybody has any inquiries, we are happy to meet with them or talk to them and answer their questions. This application has two variance requests, woodland conservation variance requests. One is for the removal of a single specimen tree, which is in fair condition, but it's right in the middle of the property. The other one is for removal of the 0.67 acres of what constitutes woodlands around that tree to remove it and meet our forest woodland conservation threshold off-site. If we had waited until the fall when new Council Bill CB 46 became effective, we wouldn't need this variance, but it's really low quality woodlands and there's heavy invasives in there. And I think it makes more sense to preserve higher quality woodlands off-site anyway here. So we respectfully ask the board's approval of the preliminary plan, the two variances, and the TCP, and we really look forward to working with your staff on the special exception. And thank you. We're here to answer any questions, and we wish the board a wonderful and relaxing recess.
Mr. Goldsmith, I just want to say that I'm excited and encouraged by what I heard. That you listen to the community and you listen to staff. Because I wrote on my cheat sheet that I hope you figure it out. And the fact that you are listening, because this is senior housing, that we wanted to ensure that they have upper sidewalks that ADA compliant means a lot to me. And it is my hope and desire that every other land use attorney is listening. Simply because I think it is a golden opportunity by your example now of how we can work together to create a win on both sides. That community now is excited. I've gotten phone calls. People are calling because they want to move in. It shows great leadership on your part that you are in tune and paying attention to the community and the advice from our team here. So on that, I applaud you, and I hope that every other case that comes before us is in that same posture. So thank you for that. Are there any other questions from the board?
I have one question. Will there be any, I know this is only at the preliminary plan, but will there be any provision for example, a medical office in the building?
It's not going to be a mixed-use building. It'll be, there's going to be health-related services that they're planning. It's going to be a wholly residential building, but there are certainly health-related services that they're planning.
Okay, thank you.
You did mention a meeting in Hillcrest Heights, a future meeting. Is there a date for that meeting yet?
August 12th. August 12th.
Okay, thank you.
I believe that there were others signed up to testify, but I believe they were all in favor. If not, are there any other questions from the board? If not, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the findings of staff and approve preliminary plan, excuse me, 4-24019, TCP 1-004-2025, variance to section 25-121C3, and variance to section 25-122B1G, subject to the conditions as outlined in staff's report.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. I will now call the roll. Vice Chair Bailey, Commissioner Washington.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye, Mr. Chair.
The Goldsmith, congratulations.
Thank you.
Vote aye. Thank you. We will now move on to item 7, preliminary plan for subdivision 4-25004, Oxon Hill Hotel. We will now hear from staff. Ms. Mona.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. For the record, I am Salmeen Monawar with the subdivision section. Item number 7 on the agenda is preliminary plan of subdivision for Oxon Hill Hotel, case number 4-25004. The subject project proposes one parcel for 114,646 square feet of commercial development. In a letter dated July 14, 2025, the applicant requested a continuance of this case to September 11, 2027 to allow the applicant and staff additional time to further coordinate the requirements related to woodland conservation. If the continuance is granted, additional posting will be required. The notices will not be required, pardon. The notices of public hearing signs for this application were posted on subject site on July 1st, 2025. This concludes staff's presentation.
Are there any questions for Ms. Mona? If not, we will now hear from the applicant's attorney, Mr. Taylor.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the Planning Board. Thomas Haller. I'm an attorney with offices here in Largo on behalf of the applicant. We have requested the continuance to September 11th. As the Planning Board is aware, CB 46 2025 was recently adopted, modifying some of the woodland conservation requirements, and that bill will take effect on September 8th of 2025. And so this continuance allows the opportunity for the provisions of that legislation to take effect prior to the Planning Board hearing. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have, and we look forward to appearing before the board in September. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Haler? Seeing none, I believe that there were folks signed up to speak, but I believe they were all in favor as well. And if there are no other questions, board members, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the request to continue preliminary plan 4-25004 to planning board hearing date September 11, 2025.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. I will now call the roll. Vice Chair Bailey,
But aye.
Commissioner Washington,
I vote aye.
Commissioner Geraldo,
I vote aye.
and I vote aye as well. Thank you. Item number 8, preliminary plan subdivision 4-24035. J. Pre Commercial Office Building. Ms. Shabazz.
Morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the Planning Board. For the record, I am Nina Shabazz with the subdivision section. Item number 8 on the agenda is the preliminary plan of subdivision for JPRE Commercial Office Building, case number 4-25035. The subject project proposes one parcel for 14,372 square feet of commercial development. In a letter stated July 28, the applicant requested a continuance of this case to September 11, 2025, to allow the applicant and staff additional time to further coordinate the requirements related to public facility adequacy. If the continuance is granted, additional posting will not be required. The notices of public hearing signs for this application were posted on the subject site on July 1st, 2025. This concludes staff presentation.
Are there any questions for Ms. Shabazz? If not, we will now hear from Mr. Tedesco.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Matthew Tedesco on behalf of the applicant. We are in agreement with Mr. Bazz's recommendation. We would submit on our letter requesting the continuance to September 11th, and we look forward to presenting this case to you all at that time. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Mr. Tedesco? Seeing none, board, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the request to continue preliminary plan 4-24035 to planning board hearing date of September 11, 2025.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. I will now call the roll. Chair Bailey.
But aye.
Vice Chair.
I'll take it.
Let me slow down.
I don't want it.
Commissioner Washington.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Geraldo.
I vote aye, Mr. Chair.
Chairman Barnes says I vote aye as well. We will now move on to item number 9, Conservation Plan CBP-2024-004 12339 Hayton Point. We will now hear from staff, Mr. King.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. For the record, my name is Evan King with the zoning section. The item in front of you is Conservation Plan CBP 2024-004 for 12339 Hatton Point Road, which proposes demolition of an existing dwelling and construction of a new single-family detached dwelling in the Chesapeake Bay Critical Area Buffer. The proposed project requires variances due to development in the Chesapeake Bay Critical Area Buffer and for impacts to steep slopes on the property, which were evaluated in accordance with the required criteria as outlined in the technical staff report. This proposal brings the property into compliance with Chesapeake Bay Critical Area impervious surface requirements, which the prior development was not subject to, by providing plantings and eliminating some paved surfaces. One exhibit in association with this case was provided prior to the July 29th deadline, and that is applicant exhibit 1, which modifies the language of conditions of approval 1C and 1D. These modifications clarify and are in accordance with the code requirements, and staff are therefore in agreement with these modifications. To conclude, staff recommend that the planning board adopt the findings of the technical staff report and approve Conservation Plan CBP 2024-004 for 12339 Hatton Point Road and associated variances to sections 5B121E and 5B114E7. subject to the conditions of approval as described in the technical staff report and as amended in applicant exhibit 1. This concludes staff's presentation. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. King? Seeing none, we will now hear from the applicant's attorney, but before he comes up, Mr. Wagner.
Due to the planning board regulations, all persons seeking to testify must swear prior to giving testimony or affirm. Everyone who seeks to speak, please stand, raise your right hand, those online as well, to the extent there are any. You swear to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
Do.
Thank you.
Mr. Foreman?
Yes, good morning, Chair Barnes, Vice Chair Bailey, and members of the Planning Board. My name is Nate Foreman. I'm a land use attorney with O'Malley, Miles, Nyland, and Gilmore with offices in Greenbelt. It's my pleasure to be here this morning on behalf of the owner of the property, Mr. Stefan Baugh, and my team here who is available to answer any questions. We are in agreement with staff's recommendation as revised by applicant's exhibit. I do want to congratulate Mr. King on his hard work in getting this staff report together. He did a great job, and I look forward to working with him in the future. There are many other staff persons that worked on this case because it had a good intersection of environmental planning, zoning, legal, but I appreciate everyone's hard work, and I think we got this to a great spot. I would like to provide a little bit of background for the variances that we had to request here and kind of explain kind of why we wanted the revised conditions. So this property does abut the Potomac River, and it is subject to the 100-year buffer yard from the critical area. But because of steep slopes along the north of the property that extend beyond the primary buffer, it creates what we call the secondary buffer. And it's not a straight 100-foot like the primary is. It's basically generated from where those steep slopes end on the property and kind of extend outward from there. The long story short is that about 70,000 square foot lot, which is about 1.62 acres, nearly 75% of that property is impacted by the primary and secondary buffer. So trying to raise the existing structure that has no stormwater management, that was not constructed with any critical area regulations, and improve the property with modern stormwater management, doing the best to meet the regulations, we had to construct the property within the secondary buffer because there just was no feasible way. But because we had to ask a variance to do this, we are subjected to the state mandated 3-to-1 mitigation ratio for removal in the buffer, for permanent disturbance in the buffer yard, and 1-to-1 for removal of tree canopy. We are working hard behind the scenes to try to reduce the amount of permanent disturbance. We think we can try to do some other techniques to save some existing trees to help limit that. But if as it stands, this will be the worst mitigation we would have to do because we'd always try to do better. Really, what the concern is, if we try to mitigate the property at the 3-to-1 plus the 1-to-1 right now, we'd be looking at almost like, I think 45,000 square feet, 60,000 square feet of mitigation area, which is just not helpful for the plantings. It doesn't help make the property reasonable or significant use, and it really impacts that. So really what we're trying to do is being able to provide a combination of mitigation plantings to a reasonable extent, but then offset what we can't do with fee and lieu. And we think we can come to a good conclusion when we go back and kind of go to the drawing board and really figure it out. We just want to make sure that the chair understands and the planning board understands that we're working hard to try to meet on-site plantings, but just that we will have to do the fee and lieu at that stage. That kind of concludes my remarks for this morning. I and my team are more than happy to answer any questions the board might have. Thank you.
Mr. Foreman, I am super confident that you will be able to figure this out.
Thank you very much.
That you will work with staff, Mr. King, because I think it is important that we look at all of our options when it comes to our environmental needs and concerns. It's been brought to my attention that the trees are one of the big sticking points on this property. And I'm sure before you come back, you will have a solution. So we will just be overjoyed when we see you. Any other questions from the board?
I don't have a question, I do have a comment. And Mr. Chair, I share with you on the trees, because I live, I believe, a quarter of a mile from the property, further down on Swan Creek. And I've walked that area many times. And those are some large specimen trees. And so hopefully that could be worked out. The other thing that I noticed the other day, and I just wanted, not only for your benefit, but for the benefit of other ones, was the posting on this was not done well. I passed by yesterday and the posting sign was in the middle of the property that was not visible from the street. I mean, you could see something was posted, but there was no, it should have been in the front of the property. So in the future, and this goes for other people that have to do the posting, because I understand that's the applicant's responsibility, please put the signs in a place that's visible and legible. Other than that, I'm fine. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. We did use a third-party printing and posting company, so I will know in the future to make sure to tell them that this needs to be done. So thank you for bringing that to our attention.
Are there any other questions for Mr. Foreman? Seeing none, I believe that there were several folks that have signed up to speak, but I believe they're all in favor. And with that, what is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the findings of staff and approve Conservation Plan CBP-2024-004, variance to Section 5B-121E, and variance to Section 5B-114E7, subject to the conditions as outlined in staff's report and is further modified by applicant exhibit number 1.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. I will now call the roll. Vice Chair Bailey.
Aye.
Commissioner Washington.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye.
And I vote aye as well. I look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you very much.
We will now move on to item 10, detailed site plan DSP-22043-03 Milford Mansions. We will now hear from staff.
Morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the Planning Board. For the record, I am David Meyerholtz with the Urban Design Section. Item number 10 is detailed site plan DSP-22043-03, which requests revision to condition 5 of the approved detailed site plan. This covered slide shows the area of the subject development, which is approved for multifamily development in 8 buildings plus 1 amenity building. This DSP amendment is to change the construction timing of the pedestrian plaza from the 4th to 5th multifamily building permit. This condition change is necessary to ensure public safety and maintain access and staging areas during the construction of the first 4 buildings, which are adjacent to the plaza. No new development is proposed with this application. Urban Design staff recommend that the Planning Board adopt the findings of this report and approve detailed site plan DSP-22043-03, subject to the recommended conditions of approval within the technical staff report. This concludes staff's presentation, and thank you very much.
Are there any questions for Mr. Meyerholtz? Seeing none, we will now hear from the applicant's attorney, Mr. Antonetti.
Mr. Chair, prior to the testimony being given, individual seeking to speak, please stand up and raise your right hand. Swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yeah.
Morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board. For the record, Robert Antonetti, former intern with the law firm of Schifflin Horn, now attorney. Spent 25 years ago, I started as an intern under the tutelage of Arthur Horn, and great things can happen from internships, and they haven't gotten tired of me yet. So it's a pleasure to be in front of you today. I'm with me today is Mr. Andrew Shelley, senior land planner with Schifflin Horn. Also with me today, representative of the applicant, St. John Properties, Mr. Andrew Roud. Mr. Ken Finley, the applicant for this case. And we are very appreciative to Mr. Meyerholz and Ms. Garland in terms of their flexibility, their professionalism in going over this application. It is a simple request in terms of modifying the permit threshold for completion of a plaza amenity for this application. So by moving it to one building permit farther. The main purpose for this is really for public safety constructability. I'm pleased to report that 4 of the 8 buildings are under construction. This is in a center designation within the master plan. So this is one of the ideal receiving areas for density within the county and growth. So we're very excited about bringing the rest of it forward. By moving this one permit later to the 5th building permit for completion of this amenity, it provides for public safety, allows for this area to be used as a material laydown area and heavy equipment area. So these buildings that abut right next to it can be constructed first. And then the sequence afterwards would be buildings farther into the site, and this plaza area will be completed. Actually, we anticipate it being completed before the 5th building permit being issued, but certainly after the first 4 buildings are done. So that being said, we do support staff's recommendation and recommended condition. We do thank you for your time today. Our team's here to answer any questions that you may have, and we appreciate your favorable consideration of this request.
Are there any questions for Mr. Antonetti?
No.
I just have one statement. I am glad to see your progression of growth from an internship with Mr. Horn. So you should be as equally as excited as I was when we had these young people come out and graduate from their internship here. Just like you, I'm very hopeful that their future is also or is equally bright as yours. But
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And I feel the same way about your interns. They all seem very professional, capable, and their future is bright. So thank you.
Thank you. I believe that there were several individuals that signed up to speak, but I believe they are all in favor. If there are no other questions, board, what is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the findings of staff and approve DSP-22043-03, subject to the conditions as outlined in staff's report.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second. I will now call the roll. Vice Chair Bailey.
Aye.
Commissioner Washington.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye.
And I vote aye as well. Thank you. We will now move on to item number 11, draft resolution PGCPB number 2025-026, ESP 22043-03, Milford Mansions. I will now hear from staff.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and members of the Planning Board. Once again, for the record, I'm David Meyerholz with the Urban Design Section. Item number 11 is the resolution to adopt the decision of the Planning Board for item 10, DSP-22043-03. Staff have no additional comments and recommend approval of the resolution. Thank you.
This is a same-day resolution for DSP-22043-03, Milford Mansion. Board members, are there any deliberation? And if not, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move approval of PGCPB number 2025-062.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. I will now call the roll. Vice Chair Bailey.
Aye.
Commissioner Washington.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye, Mr. Chair.
I vote aye as well. We will now move on to item 12, County-wide Planning Division, MRF-2025-008, City of District Heights, Fiesta Place. We will now hear from staff, Mr. Ryan.
Morning, Chairman Barnes and members of the board. For the record, this is Benjamin Ryan with the Special Projects section. Before the board today is mandatory referral MRF 2025-008, District Heights Fiesta Place. This project proposes to expand an existing community garden with additional site features and an ADA compliant pedestrian path. Next slide, please. Project is located in Council District 7, Planning Area 75A, and falls within the established communities policy area. Next slide, please. Site vicinity map shows the site, which totals approximately 0.45 acres. The project is located directly adjacent to a Pepco easement. Next slide, please. Site is zoned RSF 65, residential single family. Next slide, please. The aerial view shows the site within a residential development located between Gateway Boulevard and Halleck Street. Next slide, please. The site is located within the Patuxent River watershed. Next slide, please. The site is bound by Gateway Boulevard to the north and Halleck Street to the south. Next slide, please. Proposed project includes an expansion to an existing community garden. An ADA-compliant pedestrian path will allow visitors to access the garden from Gateway Boulevard or Halleck Street. Project also proposes additional amenities be added to the site, including benches, planters, signage, outdoor furniture, planting beds, room for outdoor classroom activities, and a circular hardscape. Next slide, please. Notification mailings were sent by staff on June 13th, 2025 to all adjacent properties, registered community associations, and municipalities. Staff have received 4 letters in support of the project and 2 letters of opposition. And these items are contained in the backup. Next slide, please. This slide shows the existing community garden photographed from the site's frontage along Gateway Boulevard. Next slide, please. This slide shows the existing community garden from the rear. Next slide. This slide shows the site photographed from the site's frontage along Halleck Street. Next slide, please. This slide shows the proposed layout. Pedestrian paths along both road frontage and the central community gathering area are shown on the site plan. Next slide, please. The site rendering shows the existing community garden, a retaining wall, and a pedestrian path. Next slide, please. Site rendering shows the new gathering area within the community garden. Next slide, please. The site rendering shows the entire site, including pedestrian paths fronting both Gateway Boulevard and Halleck Street, leading to the central gathering area. Next slide, please. The site rendering shows the approach to the community gathering area. Next slide, please. The site rendering shows an additional image of the community gathering area. Next slide, please. Slide shows staff recommendations based on the applicant's submission. The applicant is encouraged to examine gaps in the sidewalk network, increase permeable paths to 5 feet where feasible, and provide bicycle parking at both points of access. Next slide, please. Slide shows additional recommendations, including the addition of tree canopy coverage, as well as minor changes to the site plan. Staff recommend that the planning board adopt the recommendations and transmit them to the applicant. And this concludes staff presentation.
Are there any questions for Mr. Ryan? Seeing none, I do not believe that there is anyone, attorney representing the applicant. I believe that there were several individuals signed up to speak. I believe most were in favor. Are there any ones in opposition? Seeing none? Ms. Farmer, are you here? Mr. David Street. She online?
Good morning. This is Shanae Farmer. I'm here virtually. I signed up to speak in favor of the District Heights Fiesta Place Community Garden expansion. I am the assistant to the city manager for special projects here with the city of District Heights. And I originally began with the city as a plot partner with Fiesta Place Community Garden and have been really invested in the growth and engagement that we bring to the community here, as well as the extension of the park that our co-chairs, our current co-chairs and previous co-chairs have been supporting and really been engaged in sharing feedback in order to see this project through. Over the past year, we've been successful in creating workshops monthly for our community members, which have been a great turnout. We have been hosting them indoors for our residents as well as surrounding community members. However, I strongly believe having this park added to the community garden will be an excellent place to have these workshops for youth, for young families, as well as seniors to come out, as we've demonstrated that need and for our community, because we've had such a success with those this year and the community is asking for more. I believe that this community does deserve this amenity as a way to fellowship with their neighbors, as well as the greater District Heights, as well as the Prince George's County residents. So that concludes my statement in support of this extension.
Thank you, Ms. Farmer. I believe that Mr. Street is here if the planning board has any questions. Seeing none, I'll do it. Sorry.
This is Rebecca Stack. I think I signed up to speak with Design Green. Okay, so I'm representing David Street, who's sitting here as well. We're the civil engineering company that's been supporting District Heights with this expansion. And we took great care. My company is called Design Green. And we design with green in mind. And so the intention is to preserve the tree canopy cover as much as possible. The only trees that are being removed are ones that pose a safety hazard, that are dead, that have been identified by an arborist as dead. So just wanted to make sure that that was clear. And we've been involved in multiple community engagement events and have only had really positive feedback. So thank you.
And the name of the company again is?
Design Green.
Okay, thank you.
I just have one question, Mr. Chair. So you saw the recommendation to increase the size of the permeable, and you're fine with that, is that right?
We are going to adopt that from the Helix Street to the main gathering circle, but for the rest of the path, we're going to keep it at 4 because of the potential impact on mature trees.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Are there any other questions from the planning board?
Chairman, we have one more question.
I believe there is one more that would want to speak. Mr. Morgan Williams.
You're all clear.
Mr. Morgan Williams. Want to be fair. David Madden. And that there are no other persons to speak. Board, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the recommendation, staff's recommendations for MRF-2025-008 and transmit them to the City of District Heights.
Second.
Been properly moved in second. I will now call the roll. Vice Chair Bailey.
Aye.
Commissioner Washington.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye, Mr. Chair.
I vote aye as well. Thank you. We will now move to item 13, Countywide Planning Division, MRF-2022-022 Old Marlboro Pike Community Sober. We will now hear from staff. Mr. Bobby Ray.
Thank you, sir. Chairman Barnes and members of the planning board. This item is a proposed 2 megawatt community solar installation located at 11904 Old Marlboro Pike. Could we go to slide 3? Thank you. The property is located south of Ritchie Marlboro Road and north of Old Marlboro Pike, both of which are scenic and historic roads. The overall site is about 288 acres. The proposed solar field is a total of about 8.82 acres, and it is located in the center of the larger 220 acre site. The proposed location of the solar panels, as I stated, is in the center of the site, so it does provide significant separation from the contiguous properties on all sides. The property does contain an historic site and is within the environmental setting for the cottage and outbuildings. This is a 2-story plantation house with interrelated tenant farms. The cottage was listed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1989. The project site will not be visible from the resource or from the historic site, and therefore it will have no impact. The Historic Preservation Commission reviewed the project at their regular meeting of July 15, 2025, and recommended approval with no extra conditions or no extra recommendations. We go to slide 8. That's it. Thank you. So this is the site plan. So this is the actual location of the solar panels within the larger 220 acre site. So this shows the 9 acre portion, or approximately 9 acre portion of the solar layout. The orientation of the solar panels are obviously east to west. There is a break in the center of the site, which represents property slopes that are not being built on. There is a 10-foot fire break that you can see in the site plan that runs around the perimeter of the site. Access would be taken from Old Marlboro Pike, and it would extend to the northwest corner of the site where the gate access is located. Soils on the site, on the panel site specifically, are both farmland of statewide importance and prime farmland. In an effort to mitigate impacts on agricultural lands, the applicant is proposing 2 dual land use concepts. One that we're pretty much familiar with is the planting of herbaceous cover. And the second one, the applicant and the property owner have agreed to introduce grazing sheep on the property. And the applicant, I think, will probably have more to add to that. See, and finally, can we move to slide 10, I believe? Thank you. So here are the recommendations from planning staff. They're largely notes and details to be included on the site plan. Nothing really affecting the operation of the proposed facility. Staff recommends that the board approve the recommendations and direct staff to transmit them to the applicant. I'm available for any questions that the board may have. There's other staff members present. And of course, the applicant and their development team are also here as well. Thank you.
Are there any questions for Mr. Ray? Seeing none, we will now hear from Mr. Tedesco.
Good morning again, Mr. Chairman and members of the planning board. For the record, Matthew Tedesco, the law firm McNamee Hosey and Greenbelt, here on behalf of the applicant Old Marlboro Pike Solar LLC, which is the subsidiary of Alder Energy Systems. Online representatives of Alder Energy, we have Don Zimmerman and Wyatt Henneman, and from GLW, our civil engineering team, Tim Longfellow and his team are with us here in the room as well. I want to thank Mr. Ray for his presentation, for his staff's review of this application. As Mr. Ray indicated, we are here on a 2.0 megawatt solar array, a community solar energy generating system. The property is quite large. It's currently owned, was conveyed to the Chesapeake Bay Foundation many, many years ago. It is the site of a historic resource, the historic setting of which is really the entire property, the 281 acres. Notwithstanding, only about 8 acres of the site is being proposed and utilized for the solar array that will be part of the community solar pilot program in the state of Maryland. Due to the property size, substantial portions of the property are wooded on its periphery. We are utilizing
previously cleared portions of the property to site the solar array. We did provide cross sections so that not only the Historic Preservation Commission that Mr. Ray indicated has reviewed this, but also you all and any really community members that engaged in this application, for which a handful have, primarily just getting information, wanting to understand the impacts that it could have. There are some residential communities in the area, but just due to the sheer size of the property, once we provided them with the information, they were all but satisfied that it will have no impact visually or otherwise to their existing homes. I think the closest home, as the crow flies, to the actual array is more than 1,100 feet away, so more than almost a third of a mile away from the property. It's 1,900 feet from Marble Pike. It's 1,100 feet from Charles Hill subdivision, over 1,000 feet from Ritchie Marble Road, and over 1,600 feet from Marble Ridge subdivision. I'm very excited about this particular project, and in the sense that I know that historically a lot of these solar arrays, especially on farmland, have been met with, I will say, not criticism, but scrutiny with respect to the soils. I know Commissioner Dorado in particular has raised questions about that. And so when this case came before me and the applicant indicated its agreement that it has with the property owner to graze sheep on the property through a separate grazing agreement, I was excited to actually stand before you and present that, because it is at least the first opportunity that I've had on numerous solar projects in the county that we have offered that type of dual utilization of the property, especially farmland property. It is quite beneficial. Sheep are the most common solar grazing animals. They are best suited for this. They particularly enjoy the shade of the panels. They're resourceful foragers, walking in search of the next state. It obviously helps people not only with the maintenance of the property, not having to go out there and mow, but also keeps the farm in production. This dual use allows the owner to diversify its revenue without taking the land out of food production. Solar grazing contributes to the dairy, the meat, and the wool for regional markets. It reduces the need for mowing. It becomes a source of nutrition and pasture for the sheep, all in furtherance of the purposes of the adopted uniform standards and solar energy system guidelines that you all have adopted. With that being said, again, with that dual use as well as some herbaceous cover, it's a little unique in the sense that the herbaceous cover has to be consistent with sheep grazing. It can't just necessarily be for all wildlife and birds, bees, and those sorts, because we want to ensure for the health and of the health of the pasturing of the sheep. There is no objection to the staff specific recommendations that you have before your screen. We are in agreement with those. Just for the benefit of the record, there are a couple of just minor details with respect to some of the findings that we just wanted to clarify. There was a reference to the NRI that was approved in this case having been expired or soon to be expired. I think it said it was expired. It actually is not. It was approved in May 20th, 2025. So the NRI is still very much valid. There is some recommendations, not in your final recommendations, but just in the staff report that talk about expansion and use of other pollinators in different areas of the property. For the reasons that I've mentioned, we are not necessarily aligned with that expanded use of additional pollinators on the property, specifically because we are using sheep in this instance. But nevertheless, we are in full agreement with the 5 items on the screen. There was also mention of fencing for some of these additional dual pollinator areas. We have an agreement with the sheep farmer. Under that agreement, section 6B, they have rights to access the facility to provide for the grazing of the sheep. And so we just contractually don't have any ability to further fence off any particular areas. Again, nothing that your staff is recommending in its final recommendations, but just things in the staff report that we just wanted to bring to your attention. We do generally otherwise agree with staff's recommendations and findings. And as Mr. Ray indicated, on July 15th, the Historic Preservation Commission reviewed this application and unanimously recommended support, notwithstanding its location within a historic area. And with that, Mr. Chairman, members of the board, we would respectfully request your authorization for staff to issue a letter of support so that this project continue with the Public Service Commission and hopefully get its approval and then move forward as proposed.
Now, Mr. Tedesco, I am always pleased to see you. And, you know, as the gentleman, Mr. Goldsmith, that was here earlier, I am always encouraged when you all agree with staff's recommendation, because they put in a lot of time, energy, and hard work in making this stuff happen. Early on, I was not a big supporter of this community solar until you mentioned the dual purpose. And I think with the sheet there, because I know that is something that Commissioner Giraldo has spoke about previously, that kind of won me over. So other than the high school you went to,
Still there?
you're batting 1,000.
I appreciate that, Mr. Chairman, and I thank you for not holding that against me too much.
Well, I appreciate what you're doing. Is there any other questions for Mr. Tedesco?
Now, I would just have one comment,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, this is probably the second project. There was one either last week or before that they were going to do the dual use. So I'm really happy with that.
Likewise, Mr. Commissioner Giraldo, I was pleased when that was presented to us with this application and encouraged my client to make sure they executed whatever agreements were needed to make that a realization. So, which they have, which is great.
Great.
I believe that there were several individuals that wanted to speak, but I believe they were all in favor, and I believe there is no one in opposition. With that being said, we will now close this hearing, and board, are there any other deliberations? If not, what's your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt staff's recommendations for MRF-2022-022 and transmit them to the applicant, Old Marlboro Pike Solar LLC.
Second?
Been properly moved in second. I will now call the roll. Vice Chair Bailey.
Aye.
Commissioner Washington.
I vote aye.
Commissioner Giraldo.
I vote aye.
And I vote aye as well. This concludes all items for today's agenda and concludes our hearing for today. Thank you.
Have a good day, all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Next.